Hello, this is Miss Pat from Samuels Public Library. This week in Science Scouts, we're going to learn about copper and what happens to it when it gets exposed to acid, such as the rain or vinegar, and what happened to the Statue of Liberty. Our book this week is called The Statue of Liberty by Julie Murray. Okay. You're probably all familiar with that statue. You've seen it in the different shows, right? See what color it is? So the Statue of Liberty, it is in New York Harbor. So while we are down here, it's all the way up here by that red. It sits on an island called Liberty Island. You can only get there by boat. It was a gift from France. It came by boat. It was in pieces. It was put back together. This was done in 1886. It stands for freedom. It is made of copper. It is 305 feet tall. If you're not sure what copper is the color of pennies. But pennies aren't made out of all copper. The statue is a lady. A torch is in her hand. She wears a robe. She also wears a crown. Many people visit each year. Now I want you to look. Those are the people right down there. And you can actually go up inside of her all the way up to her crown. All right, and then these are some more facts. Lady Liberty wears a size 879 shoe. There are 354 stairs to reach the crown, and they go around in a circle going up. There are 7 spikes for the oceans and continents of the world, and there are 25 windows in the crown. So you might not be able to see, there is somebody right there. All right, so let's find out about, I'm going to, before I do this, start off with kind of a magic trick. All right, we have pennies. I want you to see how dark they are, right? See the color? I am going to put them in a bowl of vinegar and salt. We're going to leave them there for a little bit. You saw how dark they were. Now, how many of you guys have ever gotten pennies and they look disgusting? You see that? I got a whole handful of these kind of pennies here. Some of them are more green than others. All right. So you can see some of them not so much, they're just starting to turn. Doesn't mean anybody dropped them in food or got sick on them. Now we're going to talk about what happened to them. Right? How did they get to be that way? All right, we're going to start off with, though, why is the Statue of Liberty a blue-green color? Because you see the picture? It didn't start out that way. It started out copper, just like the pennies did. and then it turned blue-green. That's what these pennies are doing. Right? In 1886, when it was unveiled in New York Harbor, it was copper. Right? It's covered in copper plates. And they began to turn blue-green around 1900. Took about 14 years. But that's because it was the water and the rain and the air, mostly the air. The copper in the air is going to make it turn this color. All right, this is a chemical reaction. The copper is going to bond with the oxygen, which is in the air, the salt water, the carbon dioxide that's in the acid rain, right? And the chemical compound is going to have a blue-green color, just like these pennies in the picture, right? It means two reactants form something new. A penny is made out of copper, and the vinegar, which would be our acid, or our carbon dioxide in this case, salt and air will quickly turn, and by quickly, I mean an hour or two. It'll help the copper in the penny react with oxygen in the air to form a blue-green compound. Now, you might see this on rocks. This kind of rock is called a malachite. Okay, it means that there was copper there. And that copper reacted with the air and the rain. Right, to clean a penny, you could also soak it in lemon juice or vinegar mixed with salt. Right, this doesn't turn the copper layer back, return the copper layer to them, but it does make them shiny. Okay, you can stand there like this guy did and kind of hold half of one. Now, I do want to show you what happened in my, remember those dark pennies I had before? Okay, so that's what's in here. It kind of started turning, right? They started cleaning up. Look at this. They're really clean. And not this one so much, but he started off really green. And I wanted to see if it would work with him. All right. So you saw those pennies before. They weren't that color, right? They started off like that color, dark color. So this is cleaning them. Now, you can't just throw a whole bunch of pennies in though. Notice when I did this, I had to have a nice single layer. Okay, if you put them on top of each other, they don't do that. They don't get clean as well. You could leave them in here and you could turn them over. All I did was put in a little layer of vinegar and salt. Now, you're not going to watch my pennies turn as quickly, but I am going to show you how to make your pennies green. Okay. So you need to get a bowl, paper towel. I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to put it inside my bowl. Okay. And if your bowl is smaller, you can fold it smaller. You can do it like this. That's fine. It's just to kind of hold the pennies in it. Now, I'm going to only give you one penny from here. But if you got other pennies at home, you do have to check the year. Now, remember, on our penny, we have Abe Lincoln. And right down here in front of Abe is the year. The year has to be before 1982. Okay, so if the penny's not working, I might not have had good eyesight. Check the date. If I didn't give you a penny before 1982, it's not going to work. Because since 1982, they're not putting so much copper in our pennies. Okay, but if you got a penny from 1977, it's going to work great. Okay, you put your penny, right, just right there on top of your, and you take a little bit of vinegar, which we'll give you. Okay, now notice it's kind of wet, but I don't have it It's not soaking in it like it was in this one when I wanted to clean it. Okay, this is just going to sit here. Now remember in my show I told you it's going to take an hour or so, right? You're not adding anything else to it, just the vinegar. That's going to be like your acid rain. And then it's just going to sit out here. It's not sitting in the vinegar. Remember, don't put in too much vinegar. Just enough to wet your paper towel. If the paper towel's too wet, fold it over. Okay, but you do want it sitting on your wet paper towel. And then just let it sit. Maybe forget about it a couple of days. Okay, there's air going on, right? We have oxygen going in the air. The oxygen and the vinegar is going to start making your penny turn green. Okay, this is what it's going to do. And the longer you leave it, if it starts drying out, add a little bit more vinegar. Remember, we don't want to soak it. If you soak it, it's going to clean your penny. Okay, but if you just let it sit there on top of a wet paper towel, it's going to start turning green. It will take a little bit. It does not take, it takes a lot longer than it does to clean them. Okay, when it cleans them, right, and this one didn't clean too well, but believe me, this one was really dark when I started. And like I said, all of them they've all gotten light. Okay, this one is still a little bit dark. I might want to flip him over so I can get the other side. Now, just out of curiosity though, we are going to try. All right, so this one is kind of a greenish color, right? You can kind of see him green. He's got green on the back. And I'm just going to stick him right here in my vinegar bowl. Okay, now remember, it's vinegar and salt. All right, and I'm just kind of stirring him around. I want to make sure the salt is still stirred up. Remember how dark he was and he was kind of an icky green, right? And we could probably count to 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he's kind of changed colors here, huh? So the back still has a little bit of green on it, but it's not the same color it was, is it? And even the front is kind of a different color. So this one happens fast to clean the pennies. The other ones take a couple of days. So you might want to make them green and then see about cleaning them. All right. And the next time you guys go to the Statue of Liberty, go inside. Inside they have the actual models or the molds, and they show you it was copper. It wasn't blue-green. It hasn't always been that color. And a couple of years ago, they did try and clean it. It didn't last that long. All right, hope you enjoyed this. And next week, we're going to talk about birds.